Hi boys and girls, this is our e-learning lesson for language arts for Thursday, April 2nd. We're going to begin by looking at our English textbook, please, page 46, and we're going to take a look at combining sentences together. Take a look at what it says at the top of the page. To avoid choppy writing, combine two or more short sentences that have related ideas. Place a comma and a conjunction, a connecting word such as and, but, or between the sentences. On the left-hand side, we have two sentences. Bats make calls in flight. These sounds bounce off objects in their way. Those two sentences are related. They're both about the bats and they're making their calls. And so we combine them with the conjunction and. Bats make calls in flight, comma, and these sounds bounce off objects in their way. Okay, so again, when you have two related sentences, you want to combine them with a connecting word, with a conjunction. Make sure that you place a comma before the conjunction, just like we did when we were doing the grammar editing sentences. Okay, let's look down at the bottom of the page. It tells us to read these sentences from a web page. Use the conjunction in parentheses to combine the sentences after each number. Well, let's take a look. Interactive guide to bird calls. Sentence 1. Storks clatter their bills to communicate. Most birds use their voices. Again, we have two really short sentences that might sound much better if we had them combined with a conjunction. In this case, the conjunction we're going to use is but, because we're showing the contrast. Storks communicate clattering their bills, but most birds use their voices. So you would write, storks clatter their bills to communicate, comma, but most birds use their voices. Number 2. Now in this case we have three sentences, so it doesn't mean that all three are going to be combined, but we can take those three short sentences and we can at least combine two of them. A special bird call is used during migration. Birds make sounds called location notes. These sounds keep the flock together. Well, the sentences that are related are the location notes and the fact that those sounds, those location notes, is what keep the flock together. So we're going to combine the two later sentences here. A special bird call is used during migration. Birds make sounds called location notes, comma, and these sounds keep the flock together. Moving down to number 3. Birds must use alarm calls to signal danger. Hungry predators might find them. Okay, here we're showing it's one thing or the other. We're showing that choice of things. So we have birds must use alarm calls to signal danger, comma, or hungry predators might find. Ask for food, comma, and adult birds shriek to announce their discovery of food. So we're combining the last two because the last two are both talking about finding food and what they do, the calls that they make when they're finding food. All right, I'd like you now to take a look at workbook page 15, please. Up at the top it says writing good sentences. You have two sentences. Whales are adapted for diving. They can stay underwater for up to an hour. And then whales are adopted for diving and they can stay underwater for up to an hour. Remember, you don't want to be writing short, choppy sentences. You don't want to create long run-on sentences either, but you do want to eliminate those short, choppy sentences and use conjunctions wherever you can. All right, let's take a look, please, in the middle of the page. And directions tell us to rewrite these paragraphs from a report. Combine the underlined sentences using a comma and a conjunction such as and, but, or. Just remember that wherever you're putting that conjunction, you also need to place a comma before it. So I'm just going to read it through the way it's written now, and then you will go back and you will go through and see where can you combine those two smaller sentences using conjunctions. Okay. And so it says, sea mammals are some of the most interesting creatures in the world. Whales are sea mammals. They spend much of their time underwater. They must surface to breathe. Some whales have teeth. Some have powerful toothless gums. Toothed whales can dive about 3,000 meters. The toothless baleen whale stays near the surface of the sea. Male whales seem to attract females. The humpback whale is a large baleen whale. It is the best known whale singer. You can go on special whaling boats to hear whale sounds, or you can hear recordings of whale songs. Now again, notice that there are two separate paragraphs here. One about sea mammals, and then the second one is about attracting the males, females, and the singing. Okay. Make sure that in your writing you indicate you have two different paragraphs. You do that by indenting. See the indentation by sea mammals and before the male whales. So again, it should be written as two paragraphs. Also, you're going to be combining sentences. Now notice they've made it even easier for you by underlining sentences, pointing out the ones that can be combined using a conjunction. Just remember to place the comma before that. All right, that concludes the grammar portion of your lesson for today. For spelling city, you need to make sure that you're working on the missing letter activity for today. And then for wordly wise, you have 10C and 10D to complete. Now 10C is about meanings and figuring out the meanings of words, which is your typical C section in wordly wise. But you know the D section always changes. So let's just take a look at that. This is completing sentences. Complete the sentences to demonstrate your knowledge of the words in bold. Now you have done this before. A couple of weeks ago you also had to do this, where they're giving you the vocabulary word in bold and they've started a sentence and you need to complete the sentence, and by completing it you are showing that you understand the meaning of the word, because your goal is to complete the sentence in such a way that it shows you understand what the word means. Okay, so please make sure that you complete all of D. You know that there are two more that continue on the next page. Okay, and then also for reading today, you have Chapter 8 in Fever, and that's questions numbers 1, 2, and 3 that need to be answered. As always, please make sure you're answering in complete sentences. Any questions or assistance that you might need today, please make sure you reach out to me. And I'll see you later on Zoom. Bye.